Good, happy Wednesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday evening edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, and a lot of great other stuff as well, so let's get this evening edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire started. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire. First up, we're going to begin with your local news. In local news, 10 COVID-19 deaths linked to outbreaks at New Hampshire long-term care facilities, officials say. 5 more deaths attributed to coronavirus announced. 10 recent deaths linked to COVID-19 in New Hampshire were in long-term care facilities or nursing homes, state officials said Wednesday. The deaths were linked to outbreaks at the 3 facilities in which residents and staff members were affected, said Lori Shibberton, Commissioner of the Department of Health and Human Services, said. Shibberton said 37 residents and 13 staff members at Hanover Hill Healthcare Center in Manchester tested positive for COVID-19, and 4 people have died. The outbreak has been confined to one floor of the facility, Shibberton said. 19 residents and 11 staff members in the assisted living facility at Huntington, Nashua tested positive for the coronavirus, and 5 people have died, Shibberton said. There have been no new cases detected in the facility in the past 3 days, but Shibberton said there are still staff members who have tested positive. 3 residents and 11 staff members at Crotchet Mountain Residential Care Facility have tested positive, and 1 person has died, Shibberton said. In addition to those outbreaks, more than 10 other long-term care facilities have had isolated COVID-19 tests in residents or staff, Shibberton said. We're not going to report on all of those isolated incidents, but if those facilities start to experience something similar to an outbreak, we will work with them, as we have done with the 3 facilities that I have just named, to do public releases and be very transparent with their communities, she said. Shibberton said there were 5 more deaths linked to COVID-19 in New Hampshire as of Wednesday morning. There were 41 new cases confirmed, bringing the total number of cases in the state to 788, Shibberton said. 118 people have been hospitalized. Governor Chris Sununu said it's a positive sign that there have been fewer newly confirmed cases recently than the current peak daily cases of 81 on April 4th, but it's too early to know if that's a sign that the spread of COVID-19 is slowing. And now let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire update information, what you need to know. There are 788 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 3,099 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 18 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 118 number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 12 1,911 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire shows cases of COVID-19 in towns and cities. Manchester, 123 cases. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple. Daily new positive cases in the orange. New hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. And your common symptoms: fever, cough, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. Be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into national news. In national news, coronavirus live updates. NYC curve flattens despite highest daily death toll. Como. New York saw its highest daily death toll yet on Thursday with 779 fatalities. A global pandemic of the novel coronavirus has now killed at least 14,529 people in the United States. The U.S. is among the worst affected countries with over 4,223 people diagnosed with COVID-19, the disease caused by the new respiratory virus, according to data compiled by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. Worldwide, more than 1.5 million people have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and at least 87,706 of them have died since the virus emerged in China in December. The actual numbers are believed to be much higher due to testing shortages, many unreported cases, and suspicious that some governments are hiding the scope of their nation's outbreaks. Italy has by far the world's highest death toll, over 17,600. Today's biggest developments. Curve flattens in hard-hit New York, Como says. UK Prime Minister remains in hospital, but conditions approving. U.S. may investigate who's handling the pandemic, officials say. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into business news. And let's see how your U.S. stock market closed for this evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VX closed in the red and went down. Stock features point to losses after Wednesday's rally. Stock features moved lower in overnight trading, pointing to losses at the open on Thursday. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into weather and traffic. Let's begin with the weather first. Weather right now is partly cloudy, 51 degrees. And weather for tonight, partly cloudy early, followed by cloudy skies overnight, low 36 degrees, winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at the traffic. And here's a look at your evening traffic map this evening. Not a bad ride out there. And some areas, there's some yellow spots and red spots in some areas, but otherwise, smooth sailing in most parts of the state. Not too bad out on the roadways. That's good news there. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into New Hampshire Life. In tonight's New Hampshire Life segment, neighbors of Durham Nurse show support for his work. Residents line street holding signs. Let's take a listen to that video.
Create a custom-branded email template in seconds with Constant Contact's Template Builder.
At this time, many of us want to say thank you to those on the front line of this pandemic. And just check out the welcome home that this Durham neighborhood gave a nurse who lives on their street. Brian Schlender works in the ER at Portsmouth Hospital, and neighbors lined the street holding signs and sparklers for the former Army medic as he made his way home from work. He had a very important message for everyone when he got out of his car.
You guys all go home now, wash your hands.
You hear that? Go wash your hands, he says. Schlender, who feels that nursing is his calling, was surprised and overwhelmed by the show of support.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. What a great story there. And let's switch gears. Let's go into tonight's TV guide listing. Let's see what's on TV tonight. Tonight at 8 p.m. on CBS, Survivor. Then at 9 p.m., SEAL Team. On ABC, A Modern Farewell at 8 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., Modern Family. On Fox, The Masked Singer at 8 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., Lego Masters. On Channel 7, Family Feud at 8 p.m. And then Family Feud at 8:30 p.m. And then 7 News at 9 p.m. On NBC, Chicago Med at 8 p.m. And then Chicago Fire at 9 p.m. And then at 10 p.m., SWAT on CBS. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is back on ABC at 10 p.m. Boston 25 News at 10 on Fox. 7 News at 10 p.m. on Fox. And Chicago PD at 10 p.m. on NBC. And that is what's on tonight on your TV guide listing. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into entertainment news. Jimmy Kimmel gears up for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's take a listen to that video from Good Morning America.
Time now for your daily Reva sighting with a cameo by Dandy. As we discuss the return of the beloved game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it's coming back to ABC, the 20th anniversary edition, hosted by our pal Jimmy Kimmel. Abby Boudreau got to go backstage before its big premiere. Check it out.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is back in prime time, with Jimmy Kimmel stepping in for Regis Philbin.
What should I do with my gum? You take this, or how does it work?
Yeah, I tell you what. Here, Jimmy, you can put it right here.
I got something.
Good,
there. Thanks.
Nice opening.
When you walked out, you were chewing gum, and like aggressively chewing it.
It pains me to see that young punk chewing gum and handing it to Regis.
Did you ever figure out where the Bowman's capsule is located?
In the brain, in the kidneys, stomach, lungs.
I don't keep mine in any of those places. I did figure it out, but I've since forgotten, yeah.
But this time, a few changes due to the current climate as we fight the coronavirus.
It's surreal to be here, and
Even weirder without an audience.
yeah, even with all the problems going on and that have made this challenging to produce, I just think it's such an important time for this show. Everything about this program is so positive. It's such great family entertainment.
Also, Jimmy and celebrity contestants sitting 6 feet apart. The new Celebrity Edition has big payouts, with $1 million to their charity of choice.
It's the Anderson Family Foundation, the charity that I'm playing for.
And a few tweaks to the game. Instead of phone a friend, celebs bring a friend on set. And the at-home audience can play to win, too.
viewers can win the same amount of money at home on an app that the celebrities win in this chair.
But there's one thing that will never change.
I wondered if you're going to have like your own spin on, is that your final answer?
I mean, it's a classic line. You can't mess with that.
For Good Morning America, Abby Boudreau, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And the new Who Wants to Be a Millionaire premiere tonight, 9 Central, right here on ABC. As you can hear, our guys approve.
Well, hey there, G.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Thank you for watching this evening edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. I'll see you back here tomorrow night for another edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Good night and bye, everyone.